Peace and life, family. Salute to every last one of y'all. Welcome to the Ugly Truth Podcast. This is your boy, Tim Black. You know Donald Trump, best friend. You did. Listen, family. Happy Friday, October the 11th. Salute to every last one of y'all. But we gonna did it, y'all. All right, from the top, man. Y'all know they had this first, well, not the first, but they had another they called it a status conference hearing yesterday. Of course, it's a Fed case, so no cameras or anything are allowed in the courtroom. But I think it's important that we kind of go back to the top. You know what I mean, a little bit to figure out, kind of why we got here. How we got to the point that we're at. Now, Sean Diddy Combs, is a rapper, music mogul. He's credited with helping launch the careers of some of the biggest stars, in recent years. And he could be facing more than on October the 1st. Los Angeles. People have planned to file lawsuits against Mr. after just weeks after Combs was arrested in September on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, with federal prosecutors alleging that Combs and his associates threatened, abused, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, which allegedly includes forcing victims to engage in recorded sexual activity. A lawyer for the hip hop artist called Combs an innocent. The decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution, Agnifilo told The Independent in an email. Now, on Thursday, a federal judge was assigned to Combs' case according to the court documents obtained by Business Insider. Now, U.S. District Judge Aaron Subramanian is the same judge currently overseeing the Department of Justice antitrust case against Ticketmaster. Now, a reason for the new judge was not provided yet, but since his arrest, Combs has twice been denied bail on the charge. Collateral for a $50 million bond that Combs could intimidate witnesses. Combs is allegedly appealing these bail denials, with the new judge seated. His lawyers will argue for a bail a third time. Now, Combs, formerly known as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, and a host of other names, has undergone a myriad of reinventions since the start of his career, but since has entered a new and unwelcome area, if you will. Now, federal agents with the U.S. Homeland Security raided two of the rapper's houses in Los Angeles and Miami on March 25th as part of an investigation into the allegations brought against him. The music mogul was recently hit with a $100 million default judgment on September the 9th over an alleged sexual assault from a 1997 party against Gary Lee Cardello Smith, which we'll talk about in a second. Lenawee County Circuit Court judge granted the award to Cardello Smith, an inmate who filed the lawsuit against Combs, accusing him of drugging and sexually assaulting him at a party 30 years ago. Now, Combs, 54, has strongly denied all of the allegations against him. His attorneys have granted the lawsuits and the accusations of money grabs, basis, or signaling. On May 17th, surveillance footage captured at a hotel in Los Angeles in March 16th showed Diddy chasing his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, down the hallway before attacking her by the elevator. He then attempts to drag her back to his hotel room. The following day, he shared an apology video to Instagram saying his behavior was inexcusable and that he took full responsibility for his actions in the video. A slew of allegations and lawsuits against Combs date as far back as the 1990s when he founded his own record label, Bad Boy Records. Now, all the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs. Now, the lawsuits against the rapper began on November 16th, November 2023, when he was sued by singer Dancer Cassie, his former partner, who alleged years of abuse. Now, filed under the New York Adult Survivors Act just before it expired. Now, this act offered a 1-year window for adult victims of sexual assault to come forward with civil claims, regardless of the statute of limitations. Now, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, R&B singer Cassie, whose full name Cassandra Ventura, filed a lawsuit in 2023 alleging that she was trafficked, raped, and beaten by Combs on many occasions over 10 years. Her lawsuit claimed that Combs brought the singer into his ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle not long after she met him and signed her to his label in 2005 when she was just 19 and he was 37 years old, which is weird. Ventura said that the pattern of abuse began as soon as their relationship started and that she was trying to end it in 2018. He forced himself into a Los Angeles home and raped her. Now, on May 17th, the surveillance footage that was obtained by CNN that showed the incident, which appeared to corroborate parts of Ventura's original complaint. The video from March showed Combs corridor of the Los Angeles hotel, punch and kick her outside of elevators. Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye. Now, the surveillance footage shows Combs leaving Ventura, then returning and showing her into a corner. He is then seen hurling an object at her, which also cited in the complaint. For his action, calling his behavior inexcusable and saying he takes full responsibility. Ventura told CNN she had chosen to resolve this matter amicably, while Combs' attorney said the settlement was in no way admission of wrongdoing and didn't change his denial of the allegations. You're wrong for that, attorney. Her accusations against Combs were brought through the New York Adult Survivors Act, which expired at midnight on November 23rd, 2023. The act provided survivors that 1 year window to pursue any civil litigation regardless of when the abuse occurred. Many incidents from decades were finally brought to light. Now, more than 2,500 cases has been filed under that act before it expired on midnight, November 23rd. Not saying those were all on him. The survivors, brought lawsuits against some of the state's, most powerful men, including major players in entertainment like Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, Axl Rose, and of course, Combs. Now let's go back to Derek Lee Adalo Smith. Now he filed a lawsuit, 51 years old, and he's an inmate who claims Combs drugged and sexually assaulted him at a party 30 years ago, according to documents obtained. Now, September 9th, Smith was awarded a $100 million default judgment after Combs failed to appear. And that county circuit judge set up a payment schedule of $10 million a month for Combs slated claims that Smith and Combs met while he was working at a Detroit area restaurant in 1997. During a night of drinking and weed smoking, they reportedly had sex with a group of women, according to the suit. Smith said he felt the man's hand, which he claimed was Combs touching him. Wow. The suit also alleges that Combs served a spiked drink that caused him to pass out, and when he woke up, Combs was having sex with the woman and allegedly said to him, "I did this to you too." Wow. Combs' attorney, Mark Agnelli disputed the judgment and Smith's account. This man is convicted offender and a sexual predator who has been sentenced on 14 counts of sexual assault and kidnapping over the last 26 years. He said Combs has moved to dismiss the suit. Now, Rodney LeRod Jones. In the most recent lawsuit against Combs that was filed on February 26, 2024 in New York, producer Lil Rod alleged that he was subjected to unwanted advances by associates of Diddy at his direction, and that he was forced to engage in relations with sex workers Combs had hired. The producer, who worked for Combs between September 2022 and November 2023, claimed Combs sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened him for more than a year. He said he has video and audio evidence of Combs, his staff, and others engaging in serious illegal activity. The lawsuit identified 50 Cent's former girlfriend one of his children, Daphne Joy, as one of the. Now, the lawsuit also alleges that Combs regularly hosted sex trafficking parties with underage women and illegal drugs, and implies record label executives who looked the other way financially benefited from access to celebrities and dignitaries, including Harris, is not accused of any wrongdoing or of attending parties himself. Told the Los Angeles Times that the lawsuit contains reckless name dropping about events that are pure fiction and simply did not occur. Now, Ryan Mendelsohn, who's 20 years old, who used to live in the area where Combs' Los Angeles property was searched, told reporters he would see parties at the home and women outside to 6 a.m., which was not unusual for a rock star, right? I drive by a lot, he said, and I see that. A lot of girls, maybe 5 or 6 girls at a time, some leaving, some not, some going in, he said. Never thought anything of it, who added. He did not know Combs lived there until Monday when the news broke, but now that's crazy. Now, Joy Dickerson Neal. Now, in November 2023, Ms. Neal filed a lawsuit alleging that Combs drugged her, sexually assaulted her, and secretly recorded their assault while she was a college student in 1991. She claimed that Combs pushed her to go to a dinner with him, and she agreed reluctantly on January 3rd, 1991, which is when she alleged she was drugged, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. The suit also claimed he recorded the assault and showed it to other people. She later filed police reports in New York and Jersey, spoke to prosecutors, but told by colleagues that they were terrified that Combs would retaliate against them and that they would lose their future business and music opportunities if they made a statement in support of her. Now, even more women have come forward. Since November, several more women have come forward with lawsuits in the Southern District of New York, alleging that they were sexually assaulted by Combs. Two of the women said they were teenagers at the time of the alleged assault. Now, in November, an anonymous plaintiff accused Combs and singer-songwriter Aaron Hall of raping her and a friend in 1990 and 91 after meeting at an MCA Records event in New York, where the singers were very flirtatious and handsy and offered them drinks. Now, the suit alleges that Combs and Hall invited the women to Hall's apartment for an after party where the plaintiff was offered more drinks and was coerced into having sex with Combs, and was shocked and traumatized afterwards, before Hall barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced this Jane Doe to have sex with him. Now, after she spoke to her friend, the plaintiff allegedly found out that she had also been forced to have sex with Combs and Hall in another room. Wow. A few days later, Combs allegedly visited the plaintiff and her friend home where they were staying, but he became irate and began assaulting and choking Jane Doe to the point she passed. Now, in December, Combs was hit with another lawsuit, which claimed he had a young girl in 2003. Now, the plaintiff, identified as another Jane Doe, accused him of plying her with drugs and alcohol in his New York studio, then raping her along with two associates. The suit accused Combs of sex trafficking scheme in which this Jane Doe was flown by private jet from her home in Michigan to New York. Now, Crystal McKinney. In May, after the shocking CCTV footage of Combs attacking Crystal McKinney filed a new lawsuit claiming the rapper sexually assaulted her at his recording studio. But McKinney said she was a successful 22-year-old model when she met Combs at a restaurant during Men's Fashion Week in Manhattan. Combs invited her to his record studio later that night, according to federal complaint filed in New York City. The lawsuit alleged that McKinney arrived to find Combs drinking and smoking marijuana with several other men. She smoked the marijuana, which she later came to understand was laced with a narcotic and intoxicating substance, the lawsuit said. Now, she alleged that Combs led her to the bathroom where she was forced to perform oral sex on him. Now, April Lampros. Now, days after McKinney's lawsuit was filed, April Lampros, who met Diddy while she was a student, claimed Diddy had sexually assaulted her multiple times between 1995 and the early 2000s. The rapper in 1990 1994 while she was still a college student at Fashion Institute and interning at Arista, the then parent company of Diddy's Bad Boy label. Now, after meeting her at a bar in New York, she succumbed to pressure to drink alcohol after delusional and violent outbursts, according to the federal complaint filed in New York City. Now, Lampros claims she began to feel like the walls were closing in on her after sipping her drink and Combs escorted her back to a hotel. The lawsuit alleged Combs forced himself on Lampros despite her protest. Lampros was being raped by Mr. Combs as she soon passed out, it said. Now, the rapper allegedly then loved on her, and his advances later manifested into an aggressive, coercive, and abusive relationship based on sex. The lawsuit claimed Combs assaulted Lampros a second time by physically forcing her to perform oral sex in a garage near his apartment in Manhattan. When the student attempted to distance herself from the rapper following the assault, he allegedly gave her gifts and empty promises before turning angry, threatening, and forceful, and claiming he would destroy her career. In 1996, Holmes allegedly assaulted Lampros for a third time when he forced her and ex-girlfriend, Kim Porter, to take ecstasy and have sex together. The lawsuit alleged Holmes masturbated while he watched the women together before assaulting Lampros for filing claims. This nigga nasty. Lampros said she ended her relationship with Combs 2 years later. However, when she saw him at an event at the Rockefeller Center in the early 2000s, she begged to see her again, and she allowed him to come to her apartment where he kissed and touched her against her will, the lawsuit alleged. Why did you invite him to the apartment? Never mind. Now, in 2023, Lampros alleges an unidentified man approached her partner at the time and said he'd seen a sexual video of Lampros and Combs years earlier. Lampros was informed Mr. Combs apparently recorded them having sex without her knowing and showed it to multiple people. Don Richards. In September of this year, Don Richard, a former bandmate, accused of the music mogul of carrying out years of physical and sexual abuse against her and others while the two worked together, according to a lawsuit filed in New York federal court back in 2009. Well, dating back to 2009. She accuses Diddy of withholding payment for work on albums, groping her, making lewd comments, attempting to strike her, throwing household items at her, hosting parties where inebriated young girls were sexually violated, withholding food and other basic necessities during recording, and making death threats when Richard tried to intervene and in alleged abuse with Combs' longtime girlfriend, Cindy Patsy. Now, for a decade, Mr. Combs manipulated Miss Richard with mantras that submission to his depraved demands were necessary for career advancement. Now, instilling her the belief artists to succeed in the music industry. Now, this nigga look crazy. Now, the attorney for Combs told the independent suit was false and an attempt to rewrite history. Now, there's a Jane Doe number 3. Now, on September 27, Combs was hit with a 10th lawsuit by an anonymous woman who claims Combs abused her physically and sexually for 4 straight years. In her suit, he said this Jane Doe said she was more than once woke up in Combs' bed, badly injured and blacking out the night before, with no memory of what happened. Jane Doe number 3 says in the suit that she met Combs in the fall of 2020 at an overseas location. He paid for her travel there and to begin seeing each other regularly after that, according to the suit. Now, they met up roughly once a month, and Combs would often drug her against her will, then sexually abuse her, Doe claims in the lawsuit. Now, on one morning, she woke up and her feet were purple and bruised, and she had a bite mark on her heel, it says. Jane Doe did not know how she sustained these injuries. Doe later learned that she had been unwittingly dosed with ketamine, according to the lawsuit. Now, Combs' response to all these allegations, right? Now, Diddy, of course, strongly denied all the allegations against him and vowed to fight family and for the truth, he said. Now, in a statement in December following the lawsuit brought by he called the claim sickening and said his accusers were just looking for a quick. I will fight for my name, for my family, and for the truth. Now, one of Sean, the lawyer Sean Holly branded the events described in the lawsuit as pure fiction. He said, "We have overwhelming indisputable proof that all these claims are complete lies. We will address these outlandish allegations in court and take all appropriate action against those who make them." Following the statement with Ventura, Ben Brockman, another attorney for Combs, he got a lot of lawyers. He said, "Just so we're clear, a decision to settle a lawsuit, especially in 2023, is in no way a mission of wrongdoing, but that shit looks suspect, my boy." He said, "Mr. Combs' decision to settle this lawsuit does not have in any way undermined his flat out denial of the claim. He is happy they got a mutual settlement and wishes Ms. Ventura the best." Now, shortly after the release of the videos, attacking her, of course, we know he released his apology video. Now, for nearly a year, family Combs has faced these serious lawsuits and that accused him of sexual abuse, rape, and misconduct. Now, federal prosecutors have filed criminal charges against him. Combs has been charged with sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution after a federal grand jury in New York chose to bring an indictment against him. He was accused of running a criminal enterprise that consisted of his associates, employees, and the influence of his business empire to coerce, control, and abuse female victims. That includes sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice, according to the indictment. An indictment unsealed Tuesday, federal prosecutors allege Combs and his associates threatened, abused, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires. When they say he coerced women and others, why didn't they just say men? Anyway, it includes to engage in recorded sexual activity, which he referred to as a freak off. During these freak out parties, Combs distributes a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep victims obedient and compliant, prosecutors said in the document. After the freak offs, Combs and a victim typically receive IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. Now, comedian Jeff Whittick claims on an episode of his show, Jeff FM, that when he was 20 years old, he went to one of Combs' alleged freak-out parties where he saw people having sex at a mansion in Miami. It was like 8 stories high, and it just kept going up, Whittick said. And the higher you went, the weirder shit was going on. In 2010, he said he went to a lingerie sex party, and after getting an invite through an acquaintance who had filmed a music video with Combs. She's like, "Oh, Diddy's having a party," he said. "These Diddy's parties are fucking crazy. They're the best parties. Like, people wanted to go to them." Now, y'all know Combs was arrested in Miami Hotel on September the 16th. It was about 6 months after, the feds raided, the homes in Los Angeles, Miami, and New York as part of their investigations. Now, the federal investigation coincides with a series of civil lawsuits accusing him of this sexual misconduct. Now, his lawyer, the main Noodles lawyer, Mark Agnifilio, I know I'm not saying that right, but he called his client an innocent man with nothing to hide. He said the musician has been cooperating with federal authorities and voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of the arrest. "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs. Please reserve your judgment until you have all the facts," he said. Stop the courthouse. He looks forward to clearing his name to the court. I don't know how that shit gonna happen. But I found some real interesting though, family. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get ready to tap out, but I want to leave y'all with this. But a lot of people were saying, because one thing you gotta wonder, why now? Right? I'm gonna pause the music so y'all can hear this, because I'm gonna play it off the phone. I'll put it in the video. So I want you to ask yourself, like, why now? Now, if everybody knew all of this was going on for this long, why they coming after him like right now, right? Why everybody saying something now? But I want y'all to listen to this. Hello.
federal crime, that might be enough to bring forward. Right? Because, for example, if you're serve a break, then you're charged with a felony. You can't stay on us. They tell these private investigators to do as much as possible. They've got connections to the feds. I mean, this is the liquor lobby. Start giving them this information, and then the feds go after it. They have a real case. These two is the other.
That, my friends, is the ugly truth.